this is Alexander Saul. He's the Director for Enterprise Business at Vodafone Germany. Now, he has 20 years of experience in the telco business and has been traveling tons around the world, so he's gathered a lot of international experience as well, cultural experience, and he's going to give us some concrete examples now. So in the next presentation from Alexander Saul, we'll get concrete examples why IoT will make our lives better and easier. Please help me welcome to the stage Alexander Saul. Thank you for joining us.
Hello. Hi.
Thanks.
Hi, good to see you. Hi. Hello, everybody. So I need a clicker. Where's the clicker? Okay, thanks, you had it. Okay, so before I start, I would just encourage you to maybe to think about some questions during the presentation, and maybe at the end we can have some Q&A session, and then I'm happy to answer whatever I can answer. Now, IoT is one of the biggest revolutions in the industry, and probably, or surely you heard about it already. And my objective today is to take you with me in a journey from an overall strategy point of view, over a view of Vodafone, how we at Vodafone see IoT, and then at the end, I'm happy to share some real examples with you in terms of the IoT business, some real cases, no showcases, real stuff which is actually happening right now. Now, before I start, I would like to remind you on something which is not so commonly known, or let's say not so commonly understood, actually. So we are actually living in an exponential world. What does that mean? Just to give you an example, from the development or the invention of the printing press till the first flight, it took something like 500 years, plus minus. And from the first flight to the first flight to the moon, it took another 60 years or so. And now we're talking about IoT and virtual reality and augmented reality and artificial intelligence and KI. And so the technology, the development of the technology is exponential. And that is something what we always have to keep in mind. And that actually puts a lot of pressure on all the enterprises out there. So there are studies that in the next 10 years, 50% of the today Standard & Poor's 500 will be replaced by other companies, or actually will lose their business model because of new technologies like, for example, IoT or other stuff. And I don't want to get too much into the details here, but just take away, as one takeaway of this slide, so every company needs to adapt, facing the disruptive and exponential development I was just talking about before. Now, today we want to talk about IoT. And also there are studies which say, well, a lot of people actually say, well, we need to adopt in IoT, we need to increase our investments in IoT. Actually, nearly 90% of companies or early adopting companies say that. 76% of the business say it will be crucial and critical for our future business models. And more than 60% say, well, we see a great return on invest in IoT cases. However, the reality is that we see only, let's say, the top big companies like Volkswagen, Automotive, Siemens. These guys really early adopted the IoT mechanism, the IoT industry, the IoT opportunities and possibilities. The smaller companies, the Mittelstand, the German Mittelstand, how we call it here, they still have some issues to understand what's actually happening or what's actually in it for them. And I'm happy to share some of the examples later, mainly with these smaller companies. Now, when we're talking about the benefits of IoT solutions, what is it all about? And I mean, you can read by yourself, obviously, but I would like to focus on the top two left points. So, first of all, it is a possibility, an opportunity to create new business models, something completely new. And I will come to that in one of the showcases, or one of the cases I will talk later, which is a complete new invention of service which makes life easier for a lot of people. The second big thing is that IoT solutions, IoT technology, brings a lot of operational efficiency. So processes which have been done in the past via manual processes or very rotten and friction processes, they can be brought together, and we can really generate a lot of operational efficiency with that. And of course also improve security, compliance, and of course last but not definitely least, the customer satisfaction and loyalty with the IoT solutions will really make the trick. Now, our vision at Vodafone is we would like to connect every machine to transform lives and businesses. And I'm pretty sure that you're not really aware of that. Only in the Vodafone network already, we serve 66 million SIM cards around the world already. 66 million SIM cards are in the Vodafone network all around the world, connecting machines already. And that is actually growing by 17–18% on a year-on-year basis. So we see a clear development and a clear exponential development in this area. At Vodafone, we serve our customers with 1,400 dedicated people only for the IoT business. And in 2011, so some years ago, 7 years ago, actually these 1,400 were actually 100 or so. So we really ramped up our own capabilities and our own capacity in this area. 66 million IoT connections, that's what I was talking about. And with this 66 million, by the way, in terms of SIM cards, we are by far the world market leader in that area. And also interesting enough is that the average data consumption also grows by 44% year on year. 44% data growth year on year. Another example, most of the big automotive companies like the Volkswagens and Daimler, they are our customer. So we connect already today, as we speak, 14.4 million vehicles all around the world. Practically in every car you're driving today, which you buy when you buy a new car, practically in every car, there are already IoT solutions built in from the manufacturer. And even though if you don't use them, they are there and they are used by the car manufacturer. Revenue growth, I was just talking about it, 17%. And we were rated by Gartner, for example, as the #1 in this area, in this market worldwide. So that is a great success story, and of course we are willing to boost that and to go on with that. I want to explain now to you a little bit about the value chain of IoT. And of course, when you talk about IoT, it has a lot of different bits and pieces. So I would like to start from the left side. You see sensors and hardware. So there has to be something which is detecting the data, or is detecting the temperature, is detecting the pressure, is detecting the whatever. And it has to be collected via some hardware device. And this hardware device has to have a connectivity. And in this connectivity area, that is actually there where we play the most, where Vodafone plays the most. We have this so-called IoT global platform, which actually has the main benefit that you can buy from Vodafone these SIM cards, and they will work all around the world in 120 different countries, and you don't have to take care about roaming or something like that because it's all built in. It's very easy, it's plug and play, and you can manage it via our own platform. And once you have sent and collected the connectivity, the data via the connectivity, then you need to host the data of it. So the data storage actually is then the next part in the value chain. And once you have the data storage, then of course you need to visualize the data in a way, and you need to, the company or the customer, they need to have a management platform where they actually can manage the SIM cards, where they can manage the data, where they can manage the process which is optimized. So there has to be something which is like the front end for the end customer. And last but definitely not least, that is a very, very big part of the value chain, we need to have data analytics and analytic applications which actually work with the data. And from the analysis of this data, actually you can learn what to optimize in your process or what to optimize with your services. Now, if you look at the players in this area, so in the connectivity part, as I said, it's Vodafone mainly. In the data storage, data visualization space, it's Azure, Microsoft Azure, it's AWS, for example, Google as well, mainly a lot of small players as well. And then the data analytics part, there's one of the biggest players there obviously is Salesforce, for example, just as an example. So these are the players in this value chain which actually share a little bit the overall market. Just one sentence to the sensor and hardware area. That is very much, let's say, very, very specific because you need different sensors for automotive, then for whatever, for production lines and so on and so forth. So you can't really say that there is a market leader in that segment. Now, I want to share with you some real life stories, some real existing IoT solutions, because that makes it more tangible and more understandable for everybody what is possible with this technology today. So there's a company called Puls, and what do? Actually, they were founded in 1982 as a typical German Mittelstand startup company in Bavaria, and their product is a defibrillator. And of course, none of us really wants to use a defibrillator, but once you have to use one, you really want to have that this defibrillator is well maintained, well equipped, that you probably can read out data from your heartbeat, which actually can be then calculated and monitored and can be compared to other data, which is in the background. And together with Puls, we developed, and other partners, we developed a solution where with our connectivity and together with partners, the data analytics can be built into this product, into these defibrillators, so that the patient, once he got a heart attack, for example, can be cured much faster. Just to give you one figure, every 10 minutes, you're not taken care of once you got a heart attack, your mortality rate, or the mortality rate actually rises by roughly 10%. So you really want that you be taken care of really fast and really quick. This is something which is working actually right now today as we speak, and we are still working on additional tools and additional services on that as well. The next one is an example where I was talking about earlier when I said new business models are possible. And I'm really sure none of you already heard about MooCall. And it's a quite funny use case, in a way funny, but also very useful. What is it? So the problem of a farmer, of the average farmer, is that when he has cows, and these cows are pregnant and they are giving birth to calves, 10% of these calves die during the birth process when they get no support during the birth process. So obviously that is not only an emotional issue, that is also a simply business case issue, because no farmer wants to feed a cow for 9 or 10 months and then having a dead calf at the end. So what they do is, without our technology, what they do is they think that one cow is probably giving birth in 2 or 3 days, and then they practically stay together with this cow also during night, everywhere, and just to take care and that they can help once the birth starts in this process. Now the company MooCall came up with a solution, and they created together with us a little sensor which is actually as big as my hand. This sensor is being put to the tail of the cow, and when the cow is in a process like 2 hours before giving birth, the tail of the cow starts to, let's say, move in a very specific rhythm. And this specific rhythm is being detected by the sensor, and then the sensor sends a signal to the smartphone of the farmer, and the farmer then knows exactly when to get to the cow to help to give birth. And that might sound funny or bizarre or a little bit strange, but the thing is actually that this startup, founded 5 years ago, they already have a revenue of 60 to 70 million euros, because they sold this stuff in UK and in Ireland and in the Nordics and now in Germany and in France, and their big business obviously is somewhere in China and in India. And they work with us together because we have this globally operating IoT platform. Just an example. And it is very bizarre, but it gives a little bit, it shows a little bit the fantasy which is in the services and in the solutions. Another example, Kärcher. Well known for cleaning machines and everything like this, all this stuff. So this is an example of operational efficiency. So Kärcher has a high interest in a service that they can offer to their customers, especially industry customers, that they can say to their customers, listen, this vacuum cleaner or this industrial cleaning machine, what you're using, is about to break down in probably whatever, 1 day or 2 days, so it better we come and make the service before it breaks down. So kind of predictive maintenance solutions and services, that's what we do with Kärcher. So, and it's a very successful case, actually not very new. We're doing that with Kärcher already since 4 years. And they are very happy with the service and really actually enrolling it. Next example is Conti, Continental, tire manufacturer. So if you think about trucks are carrying heavy loads, and of course, a wheel, a tire, is a crucial part in this process. Now, what about if it would be possible to measure on a daily basis actually on a second basis, the temperature of a tire, the pressure of the tire, the viscosity of the rubber of the tire, and also based on that data, on that analytics, the likelihood that there will be a damage of the tire in due course. So what we developed together with Continental is that in tires of trucks, they're put some in the middle and the entire part of the tire. They are put some sensors, and these sensors are connected via IoT, via narrowband IoT, and our network to some data platform and to some analytics. And then the owner of the truck or the company who is running all these trucks, they get on a per second, per minute, per day basis information about the situation, about the way the tires are worn out or whatever, so that they can actually also in a kind of predictive maintenance work and on these tires with a high benefits. So first of all, security. I mean, there are less broken tires than on the highways. Then also a lot of efficiency in the overall process. And also if you have a tire with the right pressure, that actually leads to up to 20% less fuel consumption. So that's also a win-win situation for Continental and also for the logistic companies. Mango, as a big retailer, also they have in their shops in New York and in Barcelona and in I think it was Paris. They have a new customer experience. You have to think about a mirror in your dressing, in the locker room. There's a mirror, and obviously you bring your stuff with you from the shop, and then you see, well, this is actually not the size I need. So you can kind of scan your T-shirt, and then you can say, well, I want to have a bigger size or a smaller size or whatever, and this information is brought to the sales guy in the shop or the sales lady in the shop. She has a wearable, and this wearable says, okay, in the locker room number 5, there's a guy who wants to have another shirt, another size. She brings it there, and they can also, that's the first step. And the next step is that they actually will propose different styles to the person who bought one T-shirt in whatever, in red. And then maybe a trouser in green is also a good idea. Maybe it's a very stupid example, but that's the way how to think about it. And that's also already existing. It's no future science. It is existing. And what I wanted to bring across in this 20 minutes, 25 minutes I was talking is that that we are actually in a revolution. It's not an evolution. We are in the process of a revolution in the IoT space and the Internet of Things, in connecting machines and things all around the world. If you imagine, I was talking about this example with the tires. In every tire, and not only the trucks, in some years maybe also in every car tire, there are these sensors. So it's it's not unlikely to imagine that by 2023 or 2022, up to 50 billion things around the world are connected with each other. That's what actually latest studies say and prognosis say. 50 billion things connected, and it's big business, yes, but it's also big benefits to everybody, to companies, but at least at the end also to people and to everybody's life everywhere. So, thank you very much for your attention, and if there are questions, I'm really happy to answer questions. And I don't know, let's see.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Do we have any questions from the audience? Right over here in the front row. Thank you. And you may repeat the question for the audience. You may repeat the question for the audience.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Alexander, thank you very much for the presentation. I liked it a lot because there is practical IoT and there is not practical IoT, let me say. And yours is proving that IoT is a good movement. But I have a few questions about the business, the Vodafone business with IoT. How do you guys create the ecosystem with those clients? How do you guys reach those clients? And you guys are already using the eSIM technology from Gemalto with IoT? Yeah.
So just to repeat the question a second. So how do we actually use enable the ecosystem of an IoT solution? So because your question obviously aims to we are only connectivity and how to do the whole stuff, the whole value chain. So it's a very good question. So for certain, let's say, services or solutions, we also have our own sensor company who's producing sensors for automotive. So some years ago, we bought a company in Italy, North Italy, called Cobra at that time, now integrated into Vodafone. They actually produce sensors, hardware, for automotive. So that's that part of the value chain. We cover that one, then our connectivity. And the rest of the value chain we do together with partners. So it's not that we can offer, and also that we don't want to offer the whole value chain by our own. And partners are also the usual suspects I just mentioned, like Azure or like Salesforce or solution houses who are working with that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I will do that later, okay?
Do we have any more questions from the audience? Right over here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander Saul. My name is Tin. I am living here. I am an electronic engineer. Our Earth is the unique system. So do we need now in the future for everything, for the plant, the nature, a sensor? Because we affect, of course, with the machine, the computers, the human being, the nature. Do we need a sensor nowadays for everything?
Do we need also sensors for our private life? That's your question, or
yeah.
No?
Hello? As for everything. I mean now the nature. I want to speak for the nature.
Well, we will need sensors for everything in the future. That will come, for sure. So for connecting your washing machine, for connecting your... everything will be connected.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions? Right over here, sir. Thank you. The mic's coming to you.
For the IoT application just now, for your reference, I find that it will be used in a lot of industry. But the hardest thing is that how do you find so many experts in different industries to help Vodafone to build a business? You will be a Thai expert, you will be a farmer expert. So why Vodafone have so many experience in different industries?
Yeah, so that's a good question, and that's also the challenge, to be honest. So the thing is, you have to keep in mind, so the question for everybody, the question was, how do we, or how is Vodafone actually able to serve that many different industries? And so but we can't be expert in everything, obviously not. So we are experts in IoT connectivity, that's one thing. And what we do is, we have that's the way we approach it. We have quite a big customer base in the German market on, let's say, on normal business, like mobile telephony or data, fixed net data or whatever. And we use this basis to kind of cross and upsell to the IoT business. So what we do is, then we ask, we have 50% of the market we have a connection to. 50% of the customers we have contracts with. So what we do is we go to these customers and say, listen, why don't we do a workshop? Why don't we work in a workshop, in a business development workshop together? We bring our experts, you bring your experts, and then together we develop a solution where we try to understand what is the problem of the customer in his process, and then we come up, or try to come up with a solution together with experts we buy from external, for example, for every individual case, a different one, and work together with the customer for a solution. So it's not that we have the knowledge in every case. Yeah? And this example with MooCall, just that example for a second, there was the startup who came up with this idea. So that was their idea of the overall use case. But during the development of the device, of the sensor, to be quite frank, they kind of fucked it up. Yeah? And with our knowledge and our technology, we were able to kind of cooperate with them in the development process as well. And then we kind of roll it out later on.
Thank you. Do we have more questions? I have one quick question for you. Which industry did you see as being an early adopter?
Yeah, that's quite, that's a bit, on one way interesting, on the other hand, also kind of logic. So by very, very far, the most, let's say, early adopters in this new business was the automotive industry. So Volkswagen and Daimler, also BMW, these guys, Porsche, Audi, these guys were the first customers in the IoT business. But that's also kind of logic because they built the whole value chain, and the only thing which is missing for them is the connectivity. And then they came to us and also other competitors in the market and were asking for connectivity, and yeah, we were able to offer it. Yeah. And
Thank you so
the
much.
challenge is then the Mittelstand. That's our challenge, but we will get it.
Thanks so much. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for inspiring us.